What's up, guys? Jelly here. Got another deck for you. This is the deck that I personally ran to King of Games this season and in KC Cup Stage 1 and 2. I only really had Friday at the KC Cup to really grind, but it did hold almost a 70% win ratio. I did get about 23,000 points with it on day 1. So honestly, I think this deck is pretty good in this current meta. And I think, honestly, if you got the cards, you should give it a shot, see how you feel about it. Now, I know the first thing a lot of you are going to be looking at and say, Jelly, hold up. This is an expensive deck. Look at all the box super rares and ultra rares. And I'm not going to disagree with you. But control is always going to be like the most expensive archetype in any card game. So it's one of those things you kind of just accept the fact that it's going to be a more sunk cost for just this performance of the deck. Well, so this deck is going to be Mindscan control. Mindscan is basically what every control deck in every card game wanted. The big thing about control is having the knowledge to know when it's a good idea to say no to your opponent, to say yes to your opponent, and how to trade efficiently. So really, that's all this deck is designed about, is trying to be as efficient as possible. So looking at that, we start with Lava Golem. Lava Golem is, I talked about it in the video last month for Relinquished. It is just such a great control card. Taking out 2 of your opponent's creatures, it doesn't have piercing, so you can just put your creatures that you don't worry about or don't need in the way of it and just say, go ahead, punch them. You have great back row control where you can just econ it and say, nope, you're not attacking me this turn. You can weaken it with Wall of Disruption. You can Windstorm it. You cannot Floodgate your own Lava Golem, but a lot of people will actually reflexively use Floodgate on Lava Golem to stop that 1,000 damage burn every turn. So that can be a really good trade for you if they want to do that. Now, moving on from that, you have 3 Ninja Grandmaster Sasukes. Grandmaster Sasuke has one of the best abilities for a control style deck. If he attacks successfully a face-up defense position monster, that monster is destroyed. We don't go to we go to the damage step, and that's it. There is no damage calculation. That is huge. Your opponent gets out that Ancient Gear Golem that they've been looking to get it down. They get out Ancient Gear Hound, Cyber Angel Dakini, some of the big ninjas for 3-star demotion ninjas. Gone. No question. And that is huge. That can really slow down a lot of decks. And now you look at your back line. He's got 1800 attack, so he works well with Wall of Disruption. Great stats. He's great with Windstorm, great with Econ. Now, Floodgate is pretty much the only one that you might go, well, hold on. Because Floodgate puts them face down. So you're going to have to sacrifice a little life points potentially, especially with something like Ancient Gear Golem. But throw your Knight at it, throw your Seargent Electro at it. You're going to maybe might have to turn off your own Mindscan when you do that, which is kind of unfortunate, but taking out your opponent's big boss monster is usually worth it comparison. Speaking of Knight is in this deck, 3 of them. And I've got to say, Knight of the Flame, absolutely fantastic in this meta. Now, it is a Gemini creature, so you are going to have to summon it twice, but being able to banish creatures right now is huge. One of the only good, worthwhile things to get back creatures from the banish zone is Escape from the Dark Dimension, which really isn't seen play right now. So banishing like your opponent's Red Eyes, Ninjas, Cyber Angels, Ritual Monsters, absolutely really powerful, especially Red Eyes. Anything that's looking for recursion, whether like Red Eyes and Cyber Angels, you can just put them so far behind, you can take them out of the game just by being able to protect a Knight of the Flame. Especially like Cyber Angels, if they go for, play a creature, get the tutor, use their tutors, like a Fairy, Cyber Petite Angel, for Ritual to go Tribute Benton for a Datin, go and get their Dakini, and then summon Dakini. They've now invested so many resources. Banishing their stuff is now absolutely huge for them because they're really looking for that recursion to get them back in the game. So I think that's a really strong pick right now for the meta. Seargent Electro, I don't think I have to really talk about too much. Talk to anybody and say, how's Seargent Electro in this meta? He is a superstar. This is a very back row reliant meta, especially for dealing with some of the flood decks like Ninjas and Gladiator Beasts. So really, this is such a great time for him, and he's been very relevant for a long time. Looking at your back row, it's very classic of this meta right now. You've got your Econs. It's still one of the best and most versatile defense cards. Floodgate Traphole. It is an ultra rare. It is from a box that you're not necessarily going to crack a lot of unless you really want this card, but it is such a good defensive card. I really recommend it. And I really recommend if you can get 3, it's so powerful. Wall of Disruption is one of the ones that's like the most contested pick because Ancient Gears are such a strong presence in the meta right now. It's a very good deck, and Ancient Gears effect shuts off traps like Wall of Disruption. It shuts off Mirror Wall for the most part. You can still activate Mirror Wall outside the effect, but realistically, you're not going to get as much out of it. So if this is something you want to change about the deck, this is something you can obviously change, but I think Wall of Disruption is still the right pick generally for the rest of the meta, and even then, it's still good in the Ancient Gear matchup as a lot of them are running, Sergeant Electros. They're running, if they haven't summoned Ancient Gear Knight again to get the Ancient Gear effect, you can proc it on them. So it's generally not too difficult to get a Wall of Disruption off, but a careful Ancient Gear player will work around it. So it is something you have to be wary of. And last but not least, to round out the deck, you got Windstorm. Windstorm, classic. It's been here since the game was released. My level up, and just is pretty good. It's something you could flex in like Curse of Anubis instead. But between a couple, like there is the Gladiator 1900. There is Geminis like Knight of the Flame and Ancient Gear Knight that do dodge Curse of Anubis. So it's something that see what you're getting paired up against. A lot less people, I feel like, are playing around Windstorm because it hasn't been necessarily as picked by a lot of players. So you can kind of get away with it a little bit. It is kind of cheesy to an extent, but it is still such a fantastic card that I really think it's especially great because of Sasuke. So, I have a couple of replays for you guys here. Try it out. See how you like the deck. Leave me a couple comments. See if you have any questions. You can reach me on here, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I'll see you guys soon.
Duel. Duel. Duel!
Duel! Duel! Duel!